Hi, welcome to my channel. In this three-part tutorial, I'll introduce you to AutoCAD for Architecture, where I will show you how to get acquainted with the software and how to best utilize this tool to generate precise architectural drawings for your project. These set of tutorials are for beginners and students who want to learn this software as quickly as possible while only focusing on the tools that are necessary to generate the results they are looking for. In this video, I'll help you familiarize with the user interface, checking drawing units, using basic commands, and later we'll dive into things like making precise drawings using snapping tools, managing your drawing using layers, blocks, enabling dimensions in your drawings, and at the end, to be able to plot our drawing as a PDF file format. We're going to do all this and more in the next few tutorials, so let's dive straight in. Now when you start AutoCAD for the first time, this is what your page is going to look like. And I'm using AutoCAD 2022 on a Windows OS. You could be using other versions of AutoCAD and maybe perhaps even on a Mac environment. For the most part, they are all similar, except in the Mac, you might find that some of the placement of the commands and the tools are in a different part of the interface. This video is geared more towards users in a Windows environment. So for now, let's just start a new drawing. You can come over here and click on New. If perhaps you have some drawing templates already ready with you, or if you're working in an office that has its own templates, you can just go on the drop down and select Browse Templates and select that particular template. But we are just going to be using a standard template, so let's just click on New. Yeah, so this is what the software should look like to you at first. In this top right corner, we will find the AutoCAD application button. You will find a few basic functions that you need to open, close, and save your drawing. Towards this side, you will find that if you have opened a few drawings in the recent past, they're going to show up here in a chronological order. Next to it, you will find a Access toolbar, which has more of the same options that we saw under the AutoCAD button. Now below that, you're going to find this space which we call a ribbon. The ribbon is made up of multiple tabs like Home, Insert, Annotate, Parametric, and so on. And under each tab, you will find panels like Draw, Modify, Annotation in this case. And within those panels, you will find the tools or commands that we will be working with. A lot of these tools and commands have sort of like aliases or command keyboard shortcuts, which you will get familiar the more you use the software. Then in this wide dark space, that's your model space. This is where your will be drawing. And towards this corner, you have like a north, south, east, west direction. So this is the user coordinate system. So if you just click at various parts of the block, it will orient itself in a three-dimensional space. You can just play around with it, but just know that for drawing, you ideally want to be in this configuration, which is the top view with the north pointing up. Now to the center bottom of this screen, you will find this box, which you can call it a command box, you can call it a command palette. So basically whatever commands you type are going to show up here, and there'll be prompts for the commands or tools that you're looking for. To the bottom right, you will find that we are in the model space. We can also shift over to layouts, which we'll be talking about more later. And towards the bottom right corner, you will find a status bar where we can toggle certain tools on and off that help us make our drawing more precise. Things like polar tracking, dynamic inputs, and scale, and so on. Here, the last option, which is customization in the status bar, you can just click it and you can make options visible or not, things that you don't work with, so that can make this toolbar less cluttered. And to the center of the screen, you will see that we have a coordinate system with the X and Y axis. And the center of that is your origin, which can also be known as 0, 0. So that's going to be the center of your drawing. Okay, so let's go straight and try something. So let's start now with making a line. We're going to go to the Home tab, and under the Draw panel we will select the right line with a left click of the mouse. You can either do it this way, or the easier way is just to press L and enter, and now we are ready to draw the line. Now if you notice the cursor, it has changed its shape. It no longer has a square in the center, and now that we selected the command for a line, it has like just this shape of the cursor is called a tooltip. And if you notice next to it, it's asking us for some numbers. So basically it's asking us to specify where the first point of the line is going to be. Now if you do have the coordinates of that first point, you can enter it, or you can just click anywhere inside the model space and it will start the line. And then you just stretch your mouse over the area or the length that you want the line to be, and you click at the second point, and now you have drawn your first line. If you keep clicking it, you will get third and fourth points and so on, and you will keep drawing lines until you press escape. Once you have done that, then you can see that we have drawn a series of individual lines. To select a line, just hover over it and left click on it, and it's going to show you the two endpoints and the center of every line. Now let's learn how to navigate our drawing, and we can do that by using our mouse. And on the mouse we have a right click, a left click, and a middle mouse scroll wheel. So we are going to click on the middle mouse scroll wheel, and our cursor turns into this balled up fist that allows us to pan our drawing. If we let go, it goes back to the cursor that we had before. Now if we hover over a point or an object and we scroll on the mouse scroll wheel up and down, we can zoom in and out of the drawing. If we select any object or line, and we can exit that selection by pressing escape on our keyboard. We can press escape multiple number of times, it won't make a difference. Now let's talk about selection. Before we do that, let's go over here in this draw panel and select a rectangle. Now to draw a rectangle, let's select one point, and it is going to stretch, and we can select another point, and we have drawn a rectangle. So now if I want to select this rectangle, I'm going to hover over it and select it, and now it is selected. Now if I want to select things more than a rectangle, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to click my left mouse button, and it will create this blue region. And now I'm going to go over several lines and my rectangle and select it. This is the first kind of selection. You can just press escape to come out of that selection. Now if I go to the other side of the drawing and I left click on my mouse it creates a green region this time. And now if you notice, all I have to do is come in contact with the element or the object and it will start selecting it. Note that in this selection, all I have to do is to come in contact with the object and not go over that object entirely as we had to do in the previous selection. That allows us to select the object. I'm going to press escape. And the third kind of selection is a lasso selection. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press my left mouse button and keep it that way. And what this does is it creates sort of like the shape that allows us to select specific objects that will come inside that region. Now I just let go and now it has specifically only selected objects or elements that come within that region. So this lasso tool can also be really useful depending on how you want to navigate your drawing. Just press escape if you want to escape the selection. So now let's talk about drawing units. For now I am just going to select these objects and I'm going to press delete. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to press UN and as you can see it's going to prompt me and I'm going to take the first selection and press enter and I'm going to get my units dialog box. Now here depending on where you are in the world you may have to use inches or meters. I am going to select millimeters, so I am going to make sure my type is millimeters here, and the precision I'm just going to keep it 0 because millimeters in itself is a very precise measurement to help draw. And if you have to work in feet and inches, then you can just select architectural and select inches or select feet. But what I'm going to do is select millimeters instead, and I'm going to say OK. So now let's learn how to draw precise lines. AutoCAD allows you to draw lines with specific coordinates, and each point in this model space is a coordinate. So let's start by drawing a line from the origin, which is 0, 0. So I will press L and enter. And my first point, it's asking me for the coordinates. So I'm going to press 0, 0 and enter. And now it has already snapped the first point of my line at the origin. And now it's just asking for the second point. So I'm just going to say 500, 500, enter. So now if you zoom in, you can see that it has drawn a line with each of its ends at a specific coordinate. Let's select it and delete it. Now if we want to draw lines with specific lengths, what we're going to do is once again press L, enter. Now we are in an active line command. Select the first point, and if you see your mouse, depending on the settings that it is on, your cursor kind of snaps in certain directions. So you can just let your mouse hover and you can give a length. So I want to give say 5000 millimeters. Press enter and it has drawn a line of 5000 units. Now I'm going to let it hover vertically and I'm going to put 10,000 units, which is 10,000 millimeters, and it has done that. Now I can select the same point and say I want to draw a line at an angle. So what I'll do is instead of just typing the length of the line, I am going to go over next on your keyboard next to the M button, you will find the comma button. But if you press shift and press that same comma button, you are going to get an angle sign, and then you can enter the angle that you're looking for. So in this case, I want to put say 60 and press enter. So now what this does is it has constrained your current line in a 60-degree angle to the coordinate system, and now all you have to do is select the length of your line. And so now you have got a line which is at a 60-degree angle. This is really useful if you want to draw walls that are not at right angles to each other, and this is how you can do it. So now let's talk about polar tracking. Let's select all of this and delete it. So if you go to your status bar to the bottom right, you will notice that under polar tracking we have these angles that we can select. Currently it's showing increments of 45 degrees. Let's make it increments of 30, so that's 30, 60, 90, 120 and so on. Now let's draw a line. Now if we select a point and move to the right, it's showing this green dotted line. So this polar tracking sort of helps you snap your lines into angles. Now I have selected that point, and now for my next line, it's because I moved my mouse at an angle, it's asking to snap it at 30 degrees. If I move it a little more, the green dotted line is going to help me snap to 60 degrees, 90 degrees, 120, and so on. So I can just click at any point, make a line at 30 degrees, and now make a line at 60, make a line at 150 degrees, and we can keep drawing lines at angles of 30 degrees. So depending on your need, you can choose specific angles. It's very important to keep this polar tracking on, or when you're using it, to notice that it is on, because sometimes it can be off and you should come here and just activate it. Now I'll select all of this and press delete. Now let's talk about the ortho mode. If you want to activate ortho mode, you have to press F8 on your keyboard, or you can come over to your status bar and select ortho mode over here. This is what it looks like. Now what ortho mode does is it lets you draw a line in only the vertical or horizontal axis, so that is at every 90-degree angle as such. Now this is very useful later when you are drawing walls, because it also allows your mouse to just hover and you can just enter a definitive measure of the line and press enter, and now it has drawn your line of that length, which is 5000 units. And just know that when ortho is on, obviously polar tracking will be off, so whenever you select polar tracking, ortho will also turn off. It's one or the other. And now finally let's talk about another useful tool, that is dynamic inputs. So what we are going to do is make sure it is enabled, and it is already enabled for us. This is what it will look like when it is not enabled. However, when you come over here and select it, or what you can do is press F12 on your keyboard and it will enable it. So now when you're drawing lines, you press L, enter, and it helps you input the length of a line and the angle of the line. So here in this case, I want to enter a line of length, say 5000, but instead of pressing enter, I'm going to press the tab button. It's going to shift to the angle of the line, and here I'm going to say 1 20 and press enter. Now it has drawn that line at a 120-degree angle, and if you go here in properties and see, the length is 5000 units. So this is an extremely handy tool that allows you to control the direction and the length. So these are some basic commands that you can learn to start drawing in AutoCAD. In the next video, we'll look at other tools in the draw panel and even some modify actions that we can use, and we will try to make a basic drawing out of that.